Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you another Monster Legends video. Today we are talking about the winter breeding event. All right, so I just started off with this little thing. I'm on Monster Wiki right now, and there are a few things I would love to share with you guys. So some interesting facts. One is I actually didn't think this was this is obviously Gordon and this is obviously Drek, which you do need for the Obsidian breeding event. I honestly didn't believe I honestly didn't believe this was a thing. I thought it was just oh, someone saw Bigfoot today. I didn't think this was actually a thing. I didn't actually think this was gonna. I mean, these things would be in a breeding event, and they are indeed in a breeding event. I don't too mind on Gorin, but with Drek, the thing you gotta know, that means everybody has to get Drek, and not everybody wanted to get Drek. And if they do get Drek now, it's just gonna be for the breeding event, unless you really wanted it to begin with. So honestly, there's no problem with people that just wanted to get these monsters to begin with. But I personally didn't, unless I got just more enough coins to get them just after just the whole event, because I was just planning on getting Mega Ostium after I got Gorin, which I do have. If you ever watched that video, I do have the first two Dangeth and Gorin, but I don't have Drek yet. So now I have to prioritize in getting Drek, or maybe I don't. I'll explain that later in the video. But it does kind of blow for people that didn't want to get Drek to begin with, but now they have to pick up Drek for the breeding event. All right. So this is actually a three-parter. This is the first time they're doing this. This is actually just hinting for the ultimate, because this is one of the monsters you need for the final quest. I will say, if you want to save yourself the trouble, you can just straight up buy Houris, Houris. Houris, I think his name is. You could just straight up buy this guy. He's currently in the shop, or the sales week. You can save yourself the time for breeding this thing specifically. It has its own breeding event. In fact, it's the first breeding event right here. So what you need for this breeding event, you need Lawton, and you need whatever this thing is. It's just a monster with maracas. Everybody should be able to really do this, unless this is the only monster you don't. I hope Galante and Violet would be in this event, or you'd be allowed to be used. Not many people are going to have this monster specifically. Maybe some people do, but not everybody's going to have this one. It's like Delino or something like that. Not many people are going to have this thing, but everybody's probably going to pick up on this Epic Dragon. This combination right here is actually fairly simple. This might actually be a good epic. I don't know what this thing does. Probably have to look it up later. It's like a nature monster. It's a nature magic monster. You look it up if you're interested in knowing its stats and stuff like that and moves. Lowton, this is the monster that comes out of these two. Lowton has been none of people like Lowton. He just doesn't do any control. He's like a tanky dark monster. Except with no recovery. He's tank. He's tanky. He removes status effects, and then he gives a one status effect like an AOE. He's kind of like an early version of Glitch, except he doesn't have any possession, really, and he's slower. He's just kind of He's just a really tanky monster. He doesn't really do much. He doesn't do much in competitive. I won't say he doesn't do anything in competitive play, but he doesn't really do all that much. His ultimate, I will say his ultimate actually is really nice. He gives double damage, precision, and it hastes, which is interesting. I don't know how often the haste hits, but it's a good supportive ult. It's pretty much a supportive tank. That's all you need to know about this guy. And as a result of getting these two, you get Houris. Now, you don't actually need to do this event if you actually just straight up buy him this week. He is in the deals and stuff like that. I did see him in the Christmas deals and stuff like that. I don't know if he's part of the weekend. I actually don't know if he's part of the week sale, though. If he's missing from the week sale, that could be then you would actually have to work for this. But you should probably, most monsters are coming out. I mean, most monsters are buyable. I don't know if this one is buyable in the monster week. You should totally check every 3 hours. Every time the shop refreshes, you should see if this thing is on deal. You might want to pick this up so you don't have to struggle with this event. And if you already have them, you don't even need to do that. You don't even have to do that event. This one is kind of tricky, and this one I actually hope you for sure totally do I for sure hope you can substitute for this, or you can, another way you can do this too. You can again, you could just straight up buy these monsters. There's a monster week out now. You can just straight up buy these two, save yourself the trouble. I don't think you need to buy this one if you have Gorin and you have Monster Phase. It's not too big of a deal. I have both of these monsters, so I'm not too worried about it. Or maybe, yeah. I will say no. Okay, I will say this: if you can buy these monsters or just pick them up, it'll save you a lot of time, and it'll actually, for sure, you'll for sure probably get enough days to actually try and get this obsidian monster, this is the hardest combat. This is the hardest part of the quest. Is this, this chain specifically? Again, if you can just straight up buy draciotem, or dracodium, or I don't know how to say this guy's name. We'll say the weaker version of Mega Ostium, and this guy. If you already have this guy, you're already solid. But if you can pick up on these two, totally do so. Just straight up buy. It'll save you a lot of time, and you for sure want to get. If you don't want to buy like both of them, I will say just buy haku. Buy a haku just straight up, so you don't have to worry about this combination right here. This combination is actually really hard, is because if you don't have Punchy, and yeah, I don't know if Violet and Galante are going to be able to be used in this one specifically. If you can, though, that would actually be really great. Then people don't. Let's say you don't have Gorin, then you can easily use Violet or Galante, whoever is needed in this one, to pick up on Draciopium. If you don't have Drac, you can use the other, like Violet or Galante, to pick up on Haku. But you will save a lot of time. I will say if you prepare for these events ahead of time, which is possible, then you'll be able to do this 30-week quest. I will say this is the best part of this whole chain event. This is the best part of it. I don't know if this character's been better than Obsidian, but it's been a long time and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the last monster in the quest chain event. It's Uriel. Okay, so the three things you need to know about Uriel: he actually hasn't been available for a really long time. I'm actually wondering if he's gonna get an update on his moves, because he kind of looks different than in the past. I wonder if that's just his. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna be like. I wonder if he's going to get like a redesign or like a move set change. I wonder if that's going to be a thing. I mean, he looks different than like in the past. I think he looks different. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's not a new design. Maybe it's like the same design, or like I could have sworn his robes were red. I mean, like this part was red and stuff like that. But you do need. This is the last chain of the event. Is pretty much you need both of these monsters that were in the last breeding thing, or like the last two quests. It's available for 3 days. And all that jazz. So my thoughts on just like this overall breeding event, I think it's like I think it's kind of like I think because you gotta pick up like 2 monsters in the span of like, well, this one takes 4. Wait, we have 4 days. I don't know about this one. This one is I don't know why this one says 4 days. The other one says 3. I wonder how much days you actually get for this first quest and how much days you get for the second quest. I think if you just straight up have the material monsters to begin with, then you could just breed you can breed the quest monsters, so it's easier to get Uriel. I will say it will most likely be worth getting Uriel, because he was never been available. He's never been able to be bought. He's never been able to. Yeah, I mean, this guy hasn't been out for years in terms of breeding events. Sorry, that's just my notifications. But this guy hasn't been out for years. Since his his whatchamacallit breeding event. Not breeding event, is like island event. This guy hasn't been available at all. Basically, what Uriel does, he pretty much revives a single ally. It's a 6-turn cooldown. Yeah, that's I think that's all. Like that's all he majorly does is his revive. That's all you really need to know about him, is he can revive monsters. He may or may not be good for Team War, just depending on the situation. He may be good for really good situations where you're greatly outnumbered in terms of like runes, maybe. But yeah, I don't know how good he'll run in Team Wars, because I haven't used them before. I don't know how good and often I need it. But this is a pretty good monster. This is a rare monster. I will say it's like a shiny. This thing hasn't. It's a shiny monster that just hasn't been available for a long time. It's just not there. It's like an exclusive Pokemon that hasn't been. It's like a Mew. He's pretty much the Mew of Monster Legends, like in terms of that rarity and stuff like that. He just hasn't been available. You could buy his cells and stuff like that, but he has not been available. He's just not been there. And yeah, that's pretty much all about this breeding event. Again, if you can, the shop is still open. You can buy. You can either just straight up buy Oros. You can probably just straight up buy Oros. I will say, to save you time, you should, if you don't have Oros, you could just buy them in the team shop. You should probably do that. It just saves you time. I mean, you could probably, if you don't have, see, I don't know if you have to buy Delino. If you wanted to get Lotin, I could probably just use Galante or Violet. That's probably a thing. But if you want to save time, I will say these two, like, you should pick up on the epics. If you don't have the epics, you should just pick up on the epics. Most people will have, I will say most people will have Gorin, so you don't really need to worry about this combination. If you want to save maximum time, you can just straight up buy the material monsters, or just this one specifically, like, just so to make this one easier. Real quick, I will talk about Obsidian's moves. It's not like a guide or anything like that. I just want to show you guys its moves, my thoughts on it, just real quick. This is oh yeah, the Wildcat thing is up too. So here's everything you need to know about Obsidian. Basically, she makes everything weak to light. That's a really cool thing. She has a self buff of double damage, precision, and haste. If the haste lands, odds are it's going to be really good for you. This might be one of the few, depending on how much her hit points are, I will say she might be one of the few monsters you can actually put a speed rune on. I don't usually recommend putting a speed rune on, but there are some monsters that make an exception, like again, Sifrus. I did say you can put a speed rune on him. There are very few monsters that I actually recommend you do a speed rune, and this one might be one of them. Just because it gains, you can have a possibility of getting haste. Again, I guess it also depends on actually how fast she is too. She could be actually really slow. I actually don't. Again, we don't know their stats. We don't know what her stuff is. I mean, like her stats or her trait. Her trait could be like either really great or really bad. And I guess my final thoughts are, I was actually thinking she would be the 72-hour event. I mean, there was a thing in the past that said she would be the 72-hour event monster after Totem. And now it's like Wildcat. I really wanted to get Wildcat, so I'm kind of down about that. Just a little bit down with that. I don't know, maybe I can get them. Maybe I'll have enough to get them, or like with time and stuff like that. Maybe in time I'll be able to get them or something like that. I don't know. It would have to be another thing I need to binge play for. Oh man, oh man. That was that Totem one was a nightmare. But yeah, that's all I really need to say. It's not the fact I don't like this monster. I'm just kind of down that, like this thing isn't going to be a breeding event. I was actually really hoping this would be a breeding event monster. I was really hoping it. Now it's not. But yeah, that's all I really need to say. I hope you guys get the monsters you want. I hope this video helps you guys. I hope you can get it straight away and all of that jazz. So you can just get everything you want. I'm Did the Awesome. I'll catch you guys later.